All right. Let's see if this works. Oh, it works. All right, I'm going to go back. Okay. Good afternoon. Welcome. So today I'm going to talk about paths to becoming a certified solution architect. Oh, no, this one. There you go. So this talk is brought to you by Salesforce. So before I begin, customers should base their purchasing decisions on products and services that are currently available. So that forward-looking statement out of the way. Hello, I'm Anup Jadhav. I'm part of the Architect Success team at Salesforce, and I lead the Solution Architect program. If you haven't heard of Architect Success before, our team does architecture enablement. We have quite a few architect personas within the ecosystem. You've heard of the big one, the technical architect persona. What we do is we own the solution architect and the enterprise architect persona. Our team's mandate is purely enable. We enable not just employees of Salesforce, but also partners and the ecosystem as to what their career paths need to be a solution architect, an enterprise architect. That's what we do day in and day out. So there are 3 programs within Architect Success. The first one that we launched in April 2020 is the B2C Solution Architect, and program lead for that is Gaj Sishodia. And then same year in August, we launched the B2B Solution Architect program, and the program lead for that is Taylor Grimes. And the most recent program that we launched last year in August is the Enterprise Architect program, and program lead for that is Divya Lavarthi. So if you have any questions, I'll be covering B2B and B2C Solution Architect in this talk, but if you have any questions, you can reach out to these individuals on LinkedIn, or you can reach out to me. The way this talk is structured, I'll be talking about what is a solution architect, then why you should care, and then finally how to become a certified solution architect. Okay, one of the reasons we exist is because demand for architects is increasing. So we ran this survey a couple of years ago, and as you can see, there is a 41% increase in the demand. That number is probably higher now. And also that ratio of 10 to 1, where for every 10 available roles, we have 1 available architect. So that's why we are passionate about enabling anybody in any role to think about solution architecture to tackle today's complex multi-cloud solutions or use cases. So what is a solution architect? So Salesforce Solution Architect delivers domain-specific multi-cloud solutions on the Customer 360 platform to create frictionless customer experiences that maximize business value. The 2 things to emphasize here is the domain-specific and multi-cloud solutions. So when you think about a Salesforce architect role, when you think about implementation rather, from a point of view of a product, you get product specialist architects. So you'd have a marketing cloud architect or a MuleSoft architect or even Salesforce platform technical architect. But a solution architect thinks about implementation from the point of view of the customer and their end user. So a solution architect is thinking about the different, so for example, when the customer is asking for a CPQ, they don't want a CPQ. What they want is the capability to create complex product structure, complex pricing rules, and dynamic quoting. So you're not giving them CPQ, you're giving them that ability to do that. And sometimes that ability to do that means that you've got leads coming in from Experience Cloud or Marketing Cloud or Commerce Cloud. You're doing revenue acknowledgement in Tableau. You're building experiences in Community Builder or Experience Builder. So that's the multi-cloud aspect of things. So as a solution architect, the emphasis is less on I'm giving you a product and more on I'm giving you a solution. So that's what we mean by solution architect. And then we talk about solution architecture in terms of these 3 leadership pillars, business, delivery, and technical. But why talk about it in terms of leadership at all? Because we strongly believe that a solution architect should be able to articulate the value that the solution provides to all stakeholders. It's not just about telling the developers and the admin what to build. It's not just about telling the business team the IT teams that what's going to be built, or the business team why they should care about and invest in that build. It's about focusing on the customer, and this focus on customer centricity, this focus on multi-cloud means that these kind of implementation really need a leader. We think that you, the solution architect, are that de facto leader who demonstrates leadership in business, delivery, and technical pillars. So the question now is, how technical should a solution architect should be? And our guidance in terms of how technical a solution architect should be is that a solution architect needs to be in the middle of the business and technical leadership graph. And the virtue of staying in the middle means that you have visibility across the entire implementation area. So you know what the developers and the administrators are building. You know what's driving the criteria for the governance team. You know what decisions the business is making. So by staying in the middle, you have a view of everything that's happening. And that's where we want the solution architect should be. The next question that people ask is, but you're talking about multi-cloud, which means all of these different clouds. Should I be an expert in all of these clouds? And the answer to that is no. I think not every cloud is going to be equal within an implementation. You might be very high in terms of technical debt when it comes to platform, or when it comes to Experience Cloud, for example, but you might be low when it comes to technical debt on Commerce Cloud. So if a solution leans heavily on one cloud or capability, you're still the right person for the job, because it's not about you knowing everything about each and every product or capability. It's more about whether you understand how all of these clouds come together. So you need to have that understanding at that level. Now, you might be an expert in a specific cloud or a set of clouds, but that kind of drives the decision making. You can always lean on specialist architects for understanding how and why of that cloud. But overall, you're just trying to understand how these things come together as a solution architect. And then finally, it's not just about the product itself, it's also about these individuals. You've got business stakeholders, you've got technical stakeholders, you've got delivery stakeholders. And these stakeholders are spread across the spectrum. You can't expect them to come to the middle. You can't say, okay, come to the middle with me and see how this is done. No, you have to go where they are. So which basically means that by living in the middle, you are trying to address all of their concerns and needs and giving them a solution that they really want. Okay. So this was a question that someone asked me before as well, is why do we divide this world into the B2B and B2C solution architects? And what it boils down to is who you're building for and not what you're building. So when we take B2B first, are you building a solution for a customer that caters to businesses? If you are, then you know that these businesses will have hundreds of business units. They'll have hundreds and thousands of individuals working in these business units. The relationships are constantly changing. People come, people go, people change their roles. You're interacting with multiple departments. So as a B2B architect, you're thinking about how do you accommodate all these needs. That's B2B. When it comes to B2C, your customer's end user is an individual. So the question we like to ask is, am I selling 1,000 pair of shoes to a business? Or am I selling one pair of shoes to one individual? These two models are very different. How you sell to these individuals, or how you service them, or how you do marketing to these people is different whether they are a business or an individual. A business will do a lower value of high value purchases, whereas an individual will do a lot of low-value purchases. So the emphasis is different. The solution map will be different. So that's why we split the world into B2B and B2C. So we looked at the what. We also looked at why we divided the world in B2B and B2C. So let's look at why invest in becoming a B2B solution architect. Because B2B customers are not easy, because B2B problems are not easy. Salesforce has been a B2B company since 1999, so and that's what we've been catering for. We've been with products like Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, CPQ, etc. We know that as businesses grow, their demands change, their needs change, the requirements become more complex, and the platform that we have is agile enough to meet those requirements. So we understand that, so that B2B customers and use cases are not easy. It's also, going back to the bit where I was talking about, is that when you're building for a business, you have to understand that the business is not just engaging with one person, they're possibly engaging with hundreds and thousands of individuals in different departments. So it's about building processes that works across these departments. You know, if your customer's business is not happy with the finance team, and the sales team are saying, oh, the finance team are really messing it up for us, it's still a reflection on your customer's business. So you have to make sure that the process works across departments. So when we look at B2B solution architects, they design for deep and rich customer relationships. And one of the things the platform provides is it satisfies some of these base level needs with AI, which unlocks insights into how to better serve your customer's customer. You have integration, which gives you the capability to integrate with backend and legacy systems. Then you have Customer 360 that we all know and love. And then you have analytics, which is quite key. You know, it gives you the ability to create, manage, and track key KPIs. And going back to what we said about tracking these relationships with individuals, analytics is very important. It's a shame that analytics is an afterthought in an implementation, which shouldn't be, because analytics is key for getting you for you to get that Customer 360 view. And then you have the product capabilities that we have, which is sales, service, commerce, marketing, and also compliance. I mean, in this regulated world, compliance applies to everybody, not just financial services organizations, especially with GDPR. Then you have the industry solutions layer. Any business, as an architect, any business that you tackle with most likely falls within an industry segment. So you have to understand whether you're designing a solution that's compliant within that industry. You know, a solution map for a retail or a consumer goods organization will be very different to a solution map and data model emphasis for a financial services organization. So knowing that is important. And finally, for a B2B business, you have the ecosystem. You know, you have all these dealers, you have vendors. For example, in insurance companies rely heavily on their distributor network for sales. So you have to take into consideration the distributors and the ecosystem around that. And finally, you have the customer. And that's what's key. You have to keep that front and center. Okay? So it was B2B. So we talked a ton about B2B. And now let's look at why invest in becoming a B2C. In B2C, your customer's end user is an individual, an actual human being. And this individual expects a lot and can do a lot. You know, for example, if I'm buying headphones, I'm probably not just looking at your customer's website. I'm Googling reviews. I'm talking to friends and family asking them for recommendation. I'm possibly checking on social media for opinions on the headphones. You know, social media is a great place where we can see how good the customer service is, because that's where people complain. And then if you're able to respond on social media, then that's a win. So as a B2C solution architect, what you need to do is focus on giving your customer the ability to respond to these interactions in real time, which means you have to build for scale. Scale is very important. And when I talk about scale, it's not just data. I'm also talking about scale in terms of processes that you're building, because I just talked about all these different interactions. You have to build solutions or think about solutions where you try to respond to them in real time. So, and how do you do that? So one of the things for B2C is that keeps coming up is the single source of truth. When we talk about that, the first thing that comes to mind is that golden record. How many of you have implemented or tried to implement the golden record to identify an individual? Nobody? That's good, because you spend a lot of time, money, and effort in building that golden record, and by the time you finish that project, things have moved on, and you're like, oh, okay, that was, we need to make more changes. But instead, what you need to do is understand what are the different touch points, and really what you're trying to solve for is the ability to identify that individual in a consistent manner in all of these different systems. So for example, let's say you're using Commerce Cloud and Service Cloud and Marketing Cloud. You're selling on using Commerce Cloud. You're doing the digital marketing, obviously, using Marketing Cloud, and service using Service Cloud. But if I buy the headphones on Commerce Cloud and I've got a profile there, but then there's something wrong with the headphones, and I call back and I say, hey, can I return this? The service agent is probably sitting here in Service Cloud. If they can't identify me, if I'm that individual, then I'm not going to have a seamless customer experience. So the ability to identify me across these different systems is important. And the thing that drives it is data. So you have to have the right kind of data flowing through these systems, having the orchestration. So rather than relying on a single golden record, you have to make sure that that data flows across these systems and you are able to identify these different IDs. But it's not just the data, it's also what's contained in that data. I talked about identifier, but there could be different dimensions that you can track across this data so that when I call in, no matter where that data is located, you're able to identify me as an individual or that human being that's represented by that data point. And that's what B2C solution, that's what keeps the B2C solution architect awake at night. So I talked about the why, and here's how do you become a solution architect. So there are a lot of places to start. The two places that I've mentioned here is Partner Learning Camp. If you're a partner, you should have access to Partner Learning Camp. It's a place where we've uploaded not just solution architect courses, but other courses as well. But if you're not a partner, we also have some content on Trailhead to learn about solution architecture. So let's start with B2B solution architect. So if you're starting the learning journey for B2B solution architect, you start with Trailhead. Now, Trailhead is great for product-related enablement. So if you're learning about a specific product, you go to Trailhead. But then our stuff comes into play when you're thinking about how do these different clouds interact with each other, or you think about a use case where you've got Commerce Cloud, Experience Cloud, and Service Cloud, and what does that implementation look like? So what we've done is we created a bunch of courses, which is available today on Partner Learning Camp. And you can go on Partner Learning Camp. We've created different learning journeys, which I'll show in a bit. You can learn about these different courses, and they're all based on real-world use cases. So what we've engaged with subject matter experts, we've asked them what was the real-world problem. We took that problem, we built out a scenario, built out a solution. It's not a very deep solution, so you can't just take that and implement it within your project, but it'll give you a sense of what are the considerations when you're implementing a solution using specific set of clouds. And it's all multi-cloud. Oops, sorry, let me go back. And then step 3 is we've also created some hands-on learning labs. There are not that many, but we have a few which you can see, and we'll do this more and more. The purpose of hands-on learning labs is to give you a feel for, so if you attend those, there are like 3 or 4 hours spread across multiple weeks, where you get a feeling for what it is like to implement a multi-cloud solution. And then finally, if you want to get certified, then there is a trail mix that you can follow to learn the content for the certification. Now, the people who have taken these B2B and B2C certification have found the content of the courses on PLC very useful. So if you can get access to that, I would highly recommend it. And then you're certified. You can engage with us on partner community, and I'll show you where that is in a bit. Yeah, and we're constantly adding more courses as well. And then we have the certification credential maintenance exams every year. And that's what the learning journey looks like. So in PLC, we've split the learning. So these are all the courses that we have on PLC today, and we're adding more and more. But what we've done, let me see if this works. It does. What we've done is we've grouped these courses into different sections. So you have solution courses, data and integration course, governance course. So this is what I was talking about, multi-cloud. So if you, for example, card to cash is a very common use case. How do you do card to cash? So here we've got possibly Commerce Cloud and also service and CPQ aspects of it. We also have a few industry scenarios that we've covered. So if you want a solution for specific insurance, like tracking insurance claims, then you can take that course. Again, these courses are not meant to be something that you take and implement it. It's more of a it's more of an enablement where you look at this and understand how it's implemented, and hopefully take that knowledge and use it in your project. Okay. And then this is the certification. So here are the prerequisites if you want to take this certification. So you have to have app builder, developer one, data architecture and designer, data architecture and management designer, and sharing visibility designer to take the B2B solution architect certification. And we also have other credentials that are related. So if you want to be better at doing B2B solutions, here are some additional credentials that you might be interested in. So we have these AP certifications around certain products and processes. We've also included the user experience designer. There's a newer certification around strategy designer. So all of these are adjacent certs that will probably help you be a better B2B solution architect. Then B2C solution architect enablement also looks quite similar, so I won't go through it again, but yeah, the only thing that's changed is we've got a different learning journey for B2C, but everything else is similar. So this is what the B2C architect learning journey looks like. Again, we've split that into different segments. So we've got solution courses, and they're consistent. So we try to keep these segments similar. So if you go to PLC and search for B2C certification, so you can do these courses together. And the prerequisites for the B2C certification is the Certified Platform App Builder, Integration Architecture Designer, and the Marketing Cloud Email Specialist certification. Okay. And here are some additional certs if you're interested in becoming even more specific, if you want to acquire even more specific B2C skills. So I'll share these slides so you don't have to take a photo, but yeah, I'll share them online after the talk. So how can you engage further with architect success? We are always looking to create more content. So we will constantly add more courses to PLC. There will be more emphasis on multi-cloud solutions by industry. So we already have a few courses on industry, but we are planning to do more of those. We are expanding B2C to include Experience Cloud and Sales Cloud. We didn't have that many Experience and Sales Cloud courses as part of B2C curriculum, so we're going to add that. And we are going to do more learning labs. So so if you follow us on partner community, which I'll show in a bit, then we'll announce any new learning labs that's happening. So if you want to do hands-on learning, I would highly encourage you to attend our learning labs. And we do regular office hours and webinars as well. Okay, so here's the partner community. We don't have a public Slack yet. So today we are still using the partner community. So if you search B2B and B2C Solution Architect Program, you'll be able to find this. And we do office hours every fortnight. So if you want to attend those office hours, if you have any questions about the certification or any of the content that we've created, then you can join the office hours. Again, I'll share the link at the end that you can use to access all of these resources. Okay, so here are the QR codes. If you want to take one thing from this talk, it would be this. So if you can go to these links, and you can find out all of the resources that I mentioned in this talk. Okay. Right. Any questions?
Is there going to be a certification for enterprise architect?
Safe harbor, potentially, yes, but safe harbor, yes. There's no timeline for it.
Do you know how many people are certified in each of the certs so far?
Yep, we've got quite a few people certified for B2B and B2C. I can't share the numbers, but yeah, there are quite a few people already certified on B2B and B2C. Yeah.
So if someone is a freelancer, would you recommend learning about two hats, both B2B and B2C, or focusing on one of these areas?
Well, if you're a freelancer, it's highly likely that you'll end up working on both B2B and B2C courses. So I think it'll benefit a freelancer specifically to have both, but it really depends. And I think the main thing to understand is that certification, yes, is useful, but also the content that we're creating keeps we keep updating it, keep adding more stuff. So if you're engaging with us on community, then you'll benefit from all the latest stuff that we're putting out there. Yeah. That's a good question. So the way I would answer this is that we do collaborate with SMEs. So we haven't considered that yet, but we'll definitely, it's something we'll consider going forward here. Okay, no more questions? Cool, thank you.